Hi guys, I'm Owen Hughes and I'm sitting here with TechRadar phone and tablets writer John McCann. And we're sitting here today because it's quite a big day for Apple.
Yep.
We've got the iPad 5 and the iPad mini 2 coming out. But for those who possibly aren't kind of clued up about Apple's keynotes, we know it's not just going to be straight to the point. Here are the iPads. They like to make a bit of a show and dance about things, don't they? So
For sure.
What else can we kind of expect?
Well, Apple always usually open up. Tim Cook comes on stage, gives us all the figures of the latest sales, really blows their own trumpet for Apple, really. Look how much the iPhone 5S has sold, look how much the 5C has sold. It will be interesting to see if they split the 5C figures out, because everyone's saying it hasn't sold that well. And we'll probably also get the history of iPad sales and how well they've been doing in the sort of precursor to the new iPad launch.
So do you think Apple will bring the iPhone 5C to the forefront of their presentation? Because obviously there's been a bit of debate whether it's been doing as well as they'd hoped.
Well, no, not really. I think they're going to sort of try and hide it among the greater figure. Look how much the iPhone 5S and 5C combined have sold. It would be interesting if they split out the 5C, maybe to prove a point to everyone that it is actually selling, but that's not usually the Apple sort of thing to do. I reckon they will try and hide it to try and avoid any backlash.
And as for computers as well, we know a couple of new Apple Macs are on the way, and MacBooks. I think we heard back at WWDC that there's a MacBook Pro and in 2013 edition MacBook. Do you think we'll hear more on that?
Yeah, well, back at WWDC, as you said, they said we'd hear more about this in the autumn. There's a release date for both, apparently rumoured to be November 15th, so we wouldn't be surprised if maybe we got some pricing on both and some more details, plus the new Mavericks OS as well. We'll probably get some more details on that.
After all that, they will finally get to the iPad 5 and iPad mini 2 section, which is what everybody's obviously waiting for. In terms of what we're expecting to see in terms of design and features, could you go into that a little bit?
Well, we're expecting to see two tablets from Apple. We're expecting to see the iPad 5 and the iPad mini 2. We'll start with the iPad 5 first, probably just an incremental step up from the iPad 4, possibly a higher resolution screen. Maybe they'll finally ditch the Retina and go full HD to follow the sort of competition which is going on. Expect a faster processor. People are saying A7X for much more processing ability, probably better battery life as well. Apple are always very good on that sort of thing. A new design as well. It looks like it may follow the design of the original iPad mini, so a sort of more curved, sleeker, thinner build, which should really top it off.
And do you think they'll be going for like the gold and silver kind of space grey hues that they went for the iPhone 5S? There seems to be a bit of debate whether they're going to stick to just a space grey or if there'll be a champagne colour.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did mix up the colours. Obviously, there was quite a lot of buzz when the iPhone 5S came out with its three colours, and it caused a bit of a stir. So it wouldn't be surprising if they did the same thing with the iPad 5.
And what do you think about Touch ID, which is obviously one of the biggest selling points of iPhone 5S? It was actually quite well integrated, we found.
So in terms of Touch ID, we reckon both the iPad 5 and the iPad mini 2 will both rock it. It appeared on the 5S, obviously. It could fit in that smaller design, so there'll be more space in the tablet, so why shouldn't Apple introduce it? The feedback about it has been really good. Security fears seem to have been quelled for the moment, plus people are saying it's a lot quicker to unlock their devices and make payments, as well as being much more secure. So it seems to be a win-win for Apple, so it should definitely include them on the tablets in our view, and it probably will.
And obviously iPad users probably use iTunes just as much as iPhone users, so it kind of seems like a logical step for Apple to make.
Yeah, definitely, and Apple will also be looking for consistency for its brand, so it can offer Touch ID on all its services, and it's going to become something which becomes really familiar to users, and possibly you could scan your ID on your 5S and that ID will automatically be transported to your other devices as well, saving you from setting it up on multiple accounts, which will be really good.
As for the iPad mini 2, which a lot of people are looking forward to, could we see the bump up to Retina, maybe again Touch ID, different design, maybe they'll keep things similar? What do you reckon?
Well, the display is the big point around the iPad mini 2. That's what everyone's going to be looking at. When the original iPad mini came out, the biggest criticism was the display. It wasn't Retina, it wasn't quite that sort of high-class resolution we're used to nowadays. So we're really going to be focusing on that. There are some rumours saying it will sport the same screen as the original, which would be a real disappointment. But there are plenty of counter rumours suggesting it will get the Retina bump upgrade, and that would really make it a quality tablet. As well as other specs, expect a faster processor. The same design probably, the thin, rounded finish was very nice and very well received, so I don't think Apple will change things too much there. So it's really under the hood improvements and that display. Big
question. Will there be one more thing? A lot of people are speculating that there might be an iWatch. I mean, this rumour comes around every single year for every Apple event, it seems. But do you think with the release of the Galaxy Gear, Sony Smartwatch 2, it's maybe a little bit more likely this time around?
I mean, everyone hopes for one more thing at an Apple event. It's that air of secrecy and surprise that everyone sort of thrives on, and whether you're an Apple fan or not. Some people may hate the one more thing for the hype it generates, but either way, it usually makes waves. Will we see one this time? Well, it's really hard to say. It's a very 50-50 sort of thing to happen. But if it does happen, then the iWatch seems to be top of the list for what Apple could announce. We've seen Samsung, we've seen Sony, there's rumours that HTC and Nokia are also working on smartwatches, and it's the sort of the in tech at the moment. So if Apple wants to stay cool and relevant, which it often is, then a smartwatch would fit nicely into its portfolio.
So there you go, guys. Hopefully that will give you a little bit of a better idea of what to expect from Apple's keynote. It kicks off at 6 p.m. UK time, and obviously TechRadar will be all over it from the get-go. That's 10 a.m. by the way for our American watchers. So to stay on top of all the latest iPad 5 and iPad Mini 2 news as it breaks, don't go anywhere.